To the Hispanic Patriot. We're back here in Woodland Park, Colorado at the Truth and Liberty Coalition Conference, 3-day event that started yesterday, and we are getting to meet some interesting people. We have some friends that we've had in the past. We have with us State Representative Ken DeGraaf from Colorado Springs. Ken was scheduled to be at our town hall, but United had other plans for him. So we captured him this time, and he's here with us tonight. So welcome aboard, Ken. How's the day been going for you?
Day's been going well, Hugo. It's great to be here. We had a good breakout session on the state of the Republican Party, and just going forward. And I think people are becoming increasingly aware of the dangers of the lack of vigilance that we've had towards protecting our Constitution. And I think what happened with Charlie Kirk and the backlash, the celebrations of the left has really opened the eyes of a lot of people to the evil that is out there. It's the same evil that is opposed to our Constitution. It's opposed to the individual rights. It really, I mean, they literally silenced to death somebody who was just engaged in civil discourse, and then are celebrating it. So I think people are realizing that this is a group of people that is not interested at all in representing the rights. Now, when we look at our Constitution, the role of government is that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. And they're not interested in securing the rights of these individuals. They are not representing Coloradans. What they are doing is they are representing an ideology that is contrary to the rights of Coloradans. And people really have a difficult time understanding that, and I can tell you from being in the legislation, it's in the legislature itself, it's difficult to comprehend. Even if you're there, it's difficult to comprehend. And so for the people that are away from it, it's even more difficult, and it's hard to believe that it can even be happening. So people live in general in a sense of denial. And now I'm hopeful that this is a good wake-up call, because these people cannot, they don't represent Coloradans. They represent an ideology that is contrary to Colorado. So, but we need to work on getting that education out. We need to work on the communities, like Nick and I are talking about doing some talks so that people understand why your Constitution is important to you. There are, the elitists are trying to tell everybody all the time and saying, well, the Constitution was written for protecting the power of rich white people, and there's nothing that's farther from the truth. The Constitution is about 100% about empowering the individual with those self-evident creator endowed rights of life, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So these are the values that belong to the individual. And when Thomas Jefferson said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that this is indeed all. And this is not an issue of skin color. It's not a matter of origin. It's a matter of all, and we need to educate people on that and the value in protecting their Constitution.
Absolutely. And to kind of segue into what you mentioned earlier about the despicable behavior of some people after the Charlie Kirk shooting, and I'm going to quote a famous Japanese general, Yamamoto, who said, "We have awakened a sleeping giant." And this has been on my mind the last couple of days. I feel like we have entered into a seminal moment in our nation's history. I think this assassination will go down as a turning point, if you will. It's
Certainly
it's
is a turning point.
absolute. And the youth of America are going to be the ones that actually rise up, because they have now seen the culmination of the hate that comes from this radical movement. And I'm among those who believe that this movement is not just domestic. This is a global movement to destroy the United States of America. And so, while this guy may have been from Utah, I don't think that he was indoctrinated in Utah. I think that he has been conditioned to do what he said. They showed some pictures of what the writings were on the casings of some of the ammunition, and one of them said, "Hey, fascists, catch this." And this is a combination, I think, of a hatred that has been fomenting for quite some time. They tried to eliminate President Trump last year, twice. And
and Senator Waltz just talked about how he's hoping for news any day of an assassination of President Trump. So they're not beyond this ideology. They're not outside of this. They want this. They are fomenting this hate for a purpose. They want this. They want these things to occur.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and maybe not all. I don't think all do. I think so. I think there are a lot of people that are genuinely shocked about the level of hatred that is out there and that is being fomented.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunately being largely done, I think, in what I would, we have a lot of very good teachers in our public school system. I went to public school, but we have too many of these instances where we're hearing that these have become indoctrination centers and they've become grooming centers. And I think people are waking up to this, and there's the realization that there's no inserting rationality into this, that it's something. And when you mention that about waking a sleeping giant, I can only say I hope so, because one of the things that the left is very good at is it's good at enraging people to a point where they're just about off their seats, and then as soon as they're about to stand up, then they back off, and then we sit back down and say, but they've moved that mark just a little bit. So what we need is people to remember that, and they need to say, no, that was enough. That was enough. That needs to be the thing that gets me off my chair and involved. Not because you want to be involved, but because you need to be involved. People ask me all the time, like, why did you get involved in politics? What made you want to get involved in politics? And to that, I can honestly say absolutely nothing. It's not on my bucket list. It's not on my list of things to do. I did 27 years in the Air Force. I thought
I only did 4.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your service. I think that's the fulfillment of a contract. This is not something I want to do. This is something that needs to be done, and we need more people. We need everybody doing a little bit, whether that's to reach their neighbors, whether that's to knock on doors and educate. What we can't have is what I like, the way I say is, well, self-governance is not a spectator sport. We need to have everybody engaged. You can't just write a letter and tell somebody, in a strongly written letter that you would like the country to change. What it's going to take is if you look at it in terms of a boat, our government, self-governance is not a life raft that we should just try to pray favorable winds will blow us to the right shore. What we have is a rowboat, and everybody needs to get in that boat, grab an oar, and start pulling in the direction of our Constitution. And if we focus on the values of our Constitution, and people ask me, they say, what kind of Republican are you? What kind of politician? And I'll say, well, I'm a values of the Republic, a values of our Republican. And I think if we all focus on those values, like if we focus on Pikes Peak, right? Say, if we all look at Pikes Peak, can't really see it from here, and we all start walking towards Pikes Peak, what happens? we all start moving together. But if we said, well, let's just walk east, well, some of us will end up in Canada, some will end up in Florida. But if we have a focus, in this case, and this is why I have a picture of wooden on my card, Pikes Peak. If we focus on that, the Constitution, the values of our Constitution, those that we hold these truths to be the truths of the Constitution, these truths that we hold to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If we focus on those values, then we will come together as a party. And when we talk about unifying, and I'm all for unification, then what I'll tell people is I'll be at the corner of life and liberty, or in this case, I'll be at the corner of truth and liberty. I'll be at the corner of truth and liberty. That's where you'll find me, and that's where I think we need to unify as a party, and we need to put away our separate agendas, and we need to move in the direction of our individual rights and the constitutional values.
Well, the Constitution has to be at the core of anything that we do as a party, because that was the basic foundation of the party, because they wanted to eliminate a horrendous practice in our country of slavery, and so the Constitution was there, but it was not being made available to all our people, and so that's kind of what ignited that fire. So absolutely, the Constitution is definitely something that we have to focus on, and I think that's a great idea to.
That brings up Frederick Douglass to me. I know you're familiar, and the way he said it, exact words, but the seeds to slavery's demise were sown in the Constitution, and that's kind of interesting because he had been taught initially by some abolitionists that the Constitution enshrined slavery, and it's and if anybody wants to read somebody who's absolutely brilliant, it's Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, very just brilliant minds. If you want to feel incredibly uneducated, read Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington, and you will feel. But they're just phenomenal writers. And the idea that the seeds to slavery's demise were sown in the Constitution, and when you get into actual history like that David Barton assembles, highly recommend all of his books. But that the people when they signed on the line and said that our lives, fortunes, and they signed away literally their lives, fortunes, and they retained their sacred honor, but they signed away basically their lives and their fortunes in order to stand against, and we're talking about less than 3% of 13 loosely affiliated colonies standing up to the greatest empire in the world at the time, and winning. And those are the values that we have. And I think those are the values, when I talk to our young Republicans, those are the values that motivate people. That those are still motivational values. That to get away from the idea where a king is sovereign, and why we create sovereigns out of presidents or governors or legislature when this power actually resides in the people. But if you go back to the constitutionality in that time frame, people weren't really willing to put their lives on the line for an economic system, but they were willing to put their lives on the line for the idea that all men are created equal, and the only way that they could have that is to end slavery. And and you can go back to Thomas Jefferson's original draft, which basically decried slavery. And it took a little while, but if you look at 1789 to 1865 compared to an institution that's been in place as long as there are humans, we did a pretty good job. So our founders did a pretty good job, and we need to keep that. We need to keep that alive, and we need to keep people focused on the values of their Constitution, because it is about individual liberty, and we need to keep people focused on that so they understand what it is that they have to lose and why it is they need to fight to preserve it.
Absolutely. So I look forward to seeing that activity, because I think that's very, very strongly needed, especially among our youth, because they, unlike myself and probably you, did not get the benefit of a lot of real American history in school. I was blessed to go to parochial school for 8 years, 2 years of military school, and then 2 years of public school. So, but I was a big history buff.
Yeah.
I loved history. It was one of my favorite subjects, and they taught real American history back then. So,
well, I went to the Air Force Academy, and I can say what I've learned about the Constitution has been largely after that. So even though that we were expected to take an oath to support and defend the Constitution with our lives, we learned very little about it. So it's understandable that, and of course the state really doesn't, the statists the state itself doesn't really have an interest in teaching people that they are sovereign above the state. So those lessons, so what can you expect the state to teach kids? It's that the state is the source of rights, the source of
some would say that's by design.
I would say it's by design, and it's also by default. It's just a fact of human nature.
Yep. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to work on, and I think it's a worthwhile project. So I haven't heard anybody talk about doing something like that. We all, a lot of different people talk about honoring the Constitution and making sure that people are aware, but I think we need to have some boots on the ground and bring those youth into these meetings and just educate them on why it's important for them to honor that Constitution, because it's their lives going forward that are going to be affected.
And it's not that Constitution. I know you're not saying it. What I want to reemphasize is it's their Constitution. It's not just a Constitution. It's their Constitution.
It's ours.
It's our Constitution.
Everybody. Yeah. Yes.
And I just wanted to clarify that. I know exactly what you mean.
Absolutely. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Anything else you'd like to add for the conference? Anything have you seen or heard that caught your attention?
Just the speakers that I have been able to catch so far have been absolutely phenomenal, and it's good to see just how amazingly attended this conference is. It's a great dynamic, great people, great energy. It's very exciting to be a part of it, even in a small way. And now finally get to sit down with you guys and chat.
Well, hopefully it won't be the last.
No. Nick and I every time Nick and I are together, we have lots of really good conversations about constitutionality and oh boy, the rabbit trails we go down. maybe we'll just get everybody together. We'll just have a nice conversation. Absolutely. And Nick is brilliant, so I enjoy.
We got local races to get through, and then we're on to 26, as Bill Belichick would say.
On to 26, and we need everybody in the boat. We need everybody pulling in the direction of our Constitution.
Absolutely. All right, our guest has been State Representative Ken DeGraaf from Colorado Springs. Thank you for stopping by, and look forward to seeing you down the trail.
Excellent. Hugo, I appreciate everything you do.
All right, thank you.